Hello everyone, this is Julian from Floridian Elevators here, and today I am going to be doing a review, or I guess you could say kind of a long-term review, or a is it worth it today review of my Galaxy S9 Plus here. So I have had this phone for about 2 years now. Pretty much I got it just shortly after it came out. This phone came out in March of 2018, so it's a couple years old now. It's getting a bit old now, but even though it is a bit old now, it doesn't have the 120 hertz refresh rate or 5G capability or the time of flight augmented reality cameras, or the 8K video recording, or some of those features that the S10 and the S20 have. Plus, it doesn't have the wireless power share capability. But even though it doesn't have those features, a lot of people are probably still going to be looking at this phone wondering if it's worth it, because even though this phone is a couple years old now and a lot of people don't want 2-year-old phones, this phone does still have the latest Android version updated on it, which is Android 10, and it does also still have lots of features that many iPhones and many other Android phones still do not have to this date. And it does also still have a pretty darn good camera, and many people notice that. So is this phone still worth getting in 2020, especially since you can now get it relatively cheaply? That's what we're here to find out. So as I mentioned, I've had this phone basically since around when it came out. I got it in May of 2018, just 2 months after it came out. And even though the design definitely, you can tell it's a bit older now, it's still a pretty nice and pretty futuristic looking phone. It's mostly bezel-less with the exception of the top area where your phone speaker and your camera are, and the little bottom area also. You can see the little bezel, but other than that, it's pretty close to being bezel-less, aside from those two things. I'm sure this isn't a deal breaker for anyone if you're deciding to get this versus something newer and paying more, but it is something to keep in mind. Here's the back of the phone. That's this thing. The regular S9 only comes with one camera, but if you get the S9 Plus, which I have right here, you get two cameras. You got a ultra wide one, and then you have a regular camera. I believe they're both 12 megapixels. I don't know exactly for sure. I'll list that as I edit this video. Here you have a fingerprint scanner, which you can use to unlock your phone. The newer Galaxies have it built right into the display, underneath the glass. This is the last one that has it on the back of the phone. And then right here, you got a flash up there, and then right here you got a heart rate monitor, which actually tells you your heart rate when you're using the Samsung Health app. Now, this feature is also on the S10. I think they might have removed it on the S20, or if they didn't, they put it in the display. I don't know for sure. If anyone who has an S20 knows for sure, feel free to let me know in the comments below. You have a speaker there. You have your USB-C port, although this thing is also capable of wireless charging, which you'll see right here. And it also has a headphone jack, which I know that's important to some people. As you know, the S20, they decided to get rid of the headphone jack. The Note 10 doesn't have it either. Even though Samsung did unfortunately finally get rid of the headphone jack, with that said, it still had a headphone jack a lot longer than other phones like the iPhone and some other phones did. So, I mean, if you want to have a phone with a headphone jack, it's definitely nice to have. Here are your side buttons. The top one, which is the longer one, that's your volume button. And then right here is the Bixby button, which summons Bixby, which is like their newer virtual VI AI that replaced S Voice. That's your power button. And up here, right here, is the SIM card tray, as well as the tray that allows you to put a micro SD card in. I believe it's capable of going up to like 256 or 512 gigs. I'm not totally sure, but I'll put that in the video as well. I believe that's the part of the microphone system, and on the phone itself, that's your speaker and your front camera. There's also an infrared built in, which allows for facial recognition. Technically iris recognition, but it does allow for facial recognition. So anyways, now that I've shown you basically what's on the outside of the phone, I'll even give you a little close-up of the back and the front. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna boot it up.
So here it goes, it's just booting up. See, Galaxy S9 Plus, it's secured by Knox, powered by Android. It's gonna take a few seconds, and here we go.
So here's the home screen, as you'll see as I swipe right here, because I just turned it on, it's gonna require me to use my PIN. However, if I just put it back into sleep mode, it will recognize my face. Or it should, but it's not going to since I have the camera blocking it. So here's the home screen of the phone. Even though this phone doesn't have the 120 hertz refresh and is just a 60 hertz, it's still pretty smooth for sure. I'm able to scroll a lot through all my apps without any lag. It's definitely very smooth, even though this is now a 2-year-old phone. See, everything just goes nice and smoothly. And as you can see, this is the notification bar right here. And you got your notification settings. And this phone, obviously it's gonna have Bluetooth. It does have the flashlight mode, which turns on your flash camera for, so you can use it as a flashlight, which basically all phones have now. Let me turn that off. This thing does have mobile hotspot capability. It does have a blue light filter, which if you're, so if you needed to use your phone like before bed or whatever, or up till late, but you're one of those people where digital blue light keeps you up at the night, it does have a blue light filter, which is definitely nice to have. It does have I do have it set up to link to my Windows computer, which basically what that allows you to do, it allows you to stream your phone screen wirelessly onto your Windows computer. And it gives you a connection between your phone and computer, so calls as well as messages will pop up on your Windows computer. It does have QR code capability, but like I said, this doesn't have the time of flight camera the S10 has or the S20 has, but you can scan QR codes. It does have Samsung Smart View, which basically what that does is, if I can get it on, basically it allows you to mirror your phone's display on another device like a Windows computer, but it does also allow you to mirror it onto another device, and it also is able to mirror your screen on compatible Samsung tablets as well that have it. Like if you have like the Tab S6 or the S5e or the Tab S4, you could mirror your phone screen onto that, and you can do it on PCs, and I believe you can do it on Macs as well. Currently there's no devices found because my PC is on the other side of the room, but that's your Smart View app. And you have a kids mode. It does have the sync on. It does have Dolby Atmos capability, which allows for the sound to be pretty good on the phone, which I'll demonstrate later. And it does have a built-in screen recorder as well. And see, allow Samsung Capture to take and record video. I've never used this feature. I've used one. I've always used a screen recorder that I've had off of the Play Store, but this is the built-in one, and I am going to stop it because I don't need to be using it right now. But that's the screen recorder. It does have phone visibility, which it turns your location on, but it does help you find your phone from another device if it were to get lost or something. It does have do not disturb mode. It has the edge lighting feature, which basically it allows you to change how the notifications are displayed so it will block less of the screen. And it does have dark mode. I believe it's had this feature since the beginning, although I'm not sure. It's had it since at least Android Pie, though. But yeah, you have the dark mode feature, and you also, and see, it turns everything black, as it should, and you have focus mode, which helps you avoid distractions on your phone. So what it allows you to do is it allows you to basically turn off apps and prevent other apps from distracting you, so that if you're using your phone for work or to like message people, or you're having a really important phone call and you don't want to be distracted, it shuts off all notifications and grays out all apps. So it's definitely a useful feature, especially if you have ADHD like I do and get distracted a lot. So yeah, it's pretty cool to have. And if you want to shut that off, I just can tap that button again, and as you see, all of my apps are no longer gray anymore. So yeah, it's a pretty cool feature to have. This phone is also Samsung DeX capable, which basically what that allows you to do is plug it in to your Windows or Mac computer, assuming you have the DeX streamer on. And it also allows you to hook up to just any monitor in general, even if there's no PC or OS on it. And basically what it allows you to do is basically turn your phone into like a little PC and kind of use it like one. And here is the home screen. That's Google. There are the apps. And this is basically your news page. It's telling me it's a new day. Those are your news articles from the Flipboard app, and as you can see down here, it shows sports scores. It shows some ads. Since this is being taken during the COVID-19 pandemic, there's some info about COVID-19. There's Jiffy. There's an ad about Samsung Pay, Samsung News Brief, and all sorts of things. And you have different themes here you can put on your Galaxy, and you can even change the icons on some of them, as you can see. I pretty much kept my theme basically the same since I got the phone, just because I like it. You know, you just got that like cool animation there, as you can see. But yeah, it's pretty cool. As you can see, scrolling through apps, it's extremely smooth and no lags whatsoever. I mean, it's a really fast phone. This thing comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 CPU, which has 4 cores. It's an octa-core processor. It comes with 4 cores at 2.8 gigahertz. and as well as 4 cores at, I believe, 1.8 or 1.9. I'll have to double check on that. But it's a pretty powerful CPU given those numbers, and it has an Adreno 540 GPU, and so even though this is a 2-year-old phone, it does still have monster specs by 2020 standards, even though this is a 2018 phone. And it definitely shows, as you'll see when I play some games on it, as well as the fact this thing is virtual reality capable, as you can see right here. That's my Samsung Gear VR, which unfortunately the Samsung Gear VR is dead basically, and people are using Oculus and Windows mixed reality headsets instead. The Gear VR is basically dead now. It doesn't work with either the S10 or the S20. But with that said, if you do want to use the virtual reality experience and it matters to you that you can use that, then the S9 and prior are definitely the ones you want to get. And here's the cord it comes with, in case I didn't show that. This is a USB-C fast charging cord. And here is this converts your, this came with the phone. This converts the USB-A plug-in to USB-C. This makes it so like when you're upgrading to an older phone, you can just slide it right in on there, and basically what the phone will do is Samsung Smart Switch will turn on, and that will allow you to easily copy and paste whatever is on your old phone to your new phone, and it will also re-download all of your apps as well, which is pretty nice. I mean, it made the switch from my old Galaxy Amp Prime pretty easy. I still have that phone, I just don't really use it anymore. I just wanted a more powerful phone so I can use it on the go for like school and work stuff. And that was the reason I got this phone. But I do still have my Amp Prime, which is also a relatively good phone, but it doesn't have the nice camera, the beautiful AMOLED. It does have an AMOLED display, but it's only at 720p. This, however, is Ultra HD and looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's very nice and bright. And as you can see, I have it set at max resolution, which is Quad HD 1440p. And yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful display for sure. And like I said, very, very smooth phone. So now that we showed some basic features of the device, here are some of the different apps that come on it. Here you have your camera app, which this is, of course, allows you to take pictures and photos. It is capable of recording up to 4K 60 video, although the only problem with 4K 60 video is that it only allows you to record 5 minutes at a time. And while it's definitely nice to have, that is definitely a drawback of the 4K 60 video. But that said, if you're okay with stitching your videos together every 5 minutes and stitching the clips together, it's really not a big deal. And it's nice to have the 4K video for sure. But that said, though, it is definitely a drawback. You can only record 5 minutes at once, but you can record as long as you want in the others, or at least 10 minutes. And anyways, there's me. That's the front selfie camera that you see turned on. Hello. And if I switch, the front selfie camera is only capable of doing up to 1080p, or at least I believe it is. Which, as you can see here, yes, it's only capable of going up to 1080p. Actually, it is capable of going up to 1440. But it doesn't allow you to have video effects or stabilization at 1440, but you can still go up there if you'd like. It does have HDR. It does have HDR. It does also have super slow-mo. And it does also have advanced recording options, and you can turn on HEVC format, which unfortunately it makes your videos, it allows you to use less things to play them because less devices are compatible with HEVC, but you can turn it on. It will save some space. You can also save raw copies in JPG files in Pro mode in the camera. It also does have the scene optimizer, which allows Bixby to optimize your shots for your scenes. You can scan QR codes, as I mentioned earlier. You can preview selfies without flipping them. This thing does have grid lines on it as well. And you can also use Bixby or voice control to take pictures by talking to the phone. And it does also have a floating shutter button. You can also tap the heart rate sensor to take a selfie, but I have that feature disabled, but you can use that if you'd like. You can also use the volume key to take pictures or record video. But I just disabled that. But you could do that if you wanted to, and if I disable that, it hasn't turned this on. I'm trying to figure out how to turn those on. If you guys know how to turn these grayed out ones on, be sure to let me know in the comments below. But yeah, you have a lot of features with this camera. Some of them may be hard for some to use because I will admit they're definitely gimmicky, but they're nice to have for sure. So anyway, here's your video. Like I said, if I put it in 4K, which it is at right now, as you'll notice when I turn it over and hit record, as you'll notice, you're only able to record for 5 minutes, which sucks, but at least, you know, it's better than nothing. And like I said, if you are okay with putting your clips together, it's really not that big of a deal. And you can still take pictures while you record. And like I said, if you decide you wanted to switch to, let's put it to regular 4K at just 30 FPS instead of 60, I can record for up to 10 minutes. And if I do it to put it at 1080p at 60 FPS, I can record also at 10 minutes. So yeah, it definitely is too bad that it has a timer while you record. I mean, it's, like I said, it's not the end of the world. You can stitch videos together, but it is a minor nuisance though. And you can also, the other thing to also note is if you decide to record in 4K 60, it will not save your video to the micro SD card. It will save to your phone's internal storage. And being this phone is the this one in particular, this phone is also available in 128 gigs or 256 gigs. But being this particular phone I have is the 64 gig model, it's definitely not good when it is gonna suck up all your, you know, your memory. So yeah, but this is your flash control. This changes your ratio of your recording. And see, now it's doing full screen and it's going off to the edges. But if I do it at 16:9, see, it's not doing that anymore. But this totally optimizes it for the display, which, like I said, it's mostly bezel-less with the exception of that end where the speaker and camera are, and then that little area. And this gives you filters you have many different ones. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, you have lots of different features for the camera. You can also download more as well, which is pretty nice. And you can change the intensity. Like I said, this thing does have HDR capability. That's not something the iPhones have, so if that's important to you, that's definitely something to consider. Especially, like I said, the newer Samsung phones, the S20 actually has HDR10 plus capability, but but that said, a lot of newer iPhones don't even have HDR capability, so if you want to use it, it's nice to have for sure. If you go to more on the camera, you have Bixby vision, you also have AR emoji, you got panorama mode, you have night mode, pro mode, wide selfie, sports, hyperlapse, slow motion, super slow-mo, which if I turn super slow-mo on, I'll record a little clip and I'll show it. If I go back to the settings, I also have regular slow motion and I have hyperlapse as well, but I'm not really going to use it. But you have lots of gimmicky features with this camera, which is pretty impressive given the kind that it's a phone camera. And for your pictures, you can take pictures up to 12 megapixels and at 30 by 3024 resolution, which is higher than 4K resolution, and even at and that's at 4:3 ratio. If you go down to 16:9, you can do it still at above 4K with 9 megapixels. If you just do full screen, it will only go to above a full Ultra HD display at 1960, and that at 1:1 it will give you 9 megapixels 3024. So it has a lot of camera features for sure. This thing does have digital video stabilization. It's not the greatest, but it is nice to have for sure. But that said though, it definitely does close things in a bit, and I would definitely prefer just using it without the video stabilization, because the thing is if you do it, it's like I said, it's gonna close stuff in and it's gonna make the video look a bit wavy, where if you just have it in regular mode, it enables optical stabilization, and with that enabled, the video looks a lot smoother. And the video, like I said, even though it's unfortunate you can't really record for too long in 4K 60, like I said, it's nice to have, and you can record at 1080p 60 and 4K 30, and the video quality is absolutely amazing. And this is what the phone looks like in 1080p and 60 FPS mode. The quality is really smooth. Like I said, I'm sorry if if it's quite, let's just say, the sound is a bit scrapey, but it's just because I have a tendency to cover the mic on this thing. But this is what it's like in 1080p 60 FPS quality, and this is what it's like in 4K 60. 4K 30. So like I said, still pretty good. The images are really, really clear. The zoom is really good, and it's very detailed, even when I put it to the max, which is 10x. So it doesn't have anywhere near 100x zoom that the S20 has. And it doesn't zoom in as far as the S10 does either, but I don't think most people are gonna zoom in that far. And right here is some footage that I shot at 4K at 60 FPS mode. And right here is some footage that was done at 1080p 60 FPS with the digital stabilization on, and as you can see, the video you can notice how how the distortion and that it kind of loses its clarity due to the stabilization being on, and that's why I don't recommend using it. But it's nice to have, and to each their own. I mean, you can use it if you'd like, but personally, I don't recommend it. I would just prefer to keep it off, and it will allow the optical stabilization to kick in. And you have live focus mode, which basically allows you to change the blur of your background and focus on certain things. And it makes the photo look a lot more cinematic, for sure. And see, it's gonna focus on this game controller here, and as you can see, and it's focused well on it, and it's blurring everything out in the background, and it's pretty cool. If I can also turn it up even one more if I want to. But yeah, I mean, so the camera has a lot of cool features built into it. And as you can see right here, it does have your Samsung Files app. You have a voice recorder, and this allows me to record my voice. And the microphone on the phone is pretty good. Now that said, I do have a tendency to accidentally cover it up when I film or when I use it, so it causes a bit of a scraping sound. But if you're not like me and you don't cover the microphone on accident, the microphone's pretty good. And also, you have Samsung Pay, which is just like Google Pay and Apple Pay. It allows you to digitally pay for things. I do not have that turned on right now, but you have that. You also have Samsung's Note apps. You have Samsung Members, which basically what that allows you to do, it allows you to get help and learn new things from the Samsung community, and it also gives you some Samsung related news. And you also have Samsung's print service, and you also have Samsung Smart Things, which Samsung Smart Things, what that allows you to do is control your Samsung devices and appliances such as washing machines, TVs, etc. It allows you to basically control all of that right from your phone, which is a really nice and cool feature to have. It's very, very useful. Unfortunately, I don't have that many wireless Samsung devices in my house that are compatible with this. But if you do, this is a very, very nice feature to have. And it also allows you to control, it also has smart home capability, and as you can see, like I said, I don't have many devices connected to it, but it's pretty cool. And if I go here, yeah, it just lets you edit it a bit. And as you can also see, there's also the game launcher, which allows you to optimize your games for optimal performance on your device, which it's nice to have for sure. Although, as you'll see, just about all games I've used on it, they just work just fine. And YouTube boots up, not the fastest, but not the slowest. That's your gallery app where all of your photos and pictures and stories are. If I go back there, you also, it will create stories for you, which as you can see, it created some that I took of my doggy and it called them So Cute. Those are my St. Augustine photos. Such a sweetie. dog days. So it does this feature, which I find to be really, really cool, and it's definitely nice to have. And some of the titles that will automatically generate for you are really interesting. So yeah, it's definitely pretty cool. And it has a lot of really cool features, as you can definitely see. It does have the Samsung Health app, which once I upload that, it will tell you your steps as you walk. It tells you your active time. You can put in the food you ate, how long you were asleep. It will automatically generate it, but you can change it. You can record your weight and how much water you've had. You can also access features together if you have other people that use Samsung phones in your family that use and have the app. It also have the heart rate, which you can measure your heart rate by placing the finger on this sensor. And as you can see, it's going to tell me my heart rate. Watch and see. Which obviously may not exactly be the best one, but keep in mind, of course, I'm reviewing and moving, so I'm not the most still, but it records your heart rate. You can also measure your stress level as well, which is pretty cool. And same thing, you place your finger on the sensor, and it will measure your stress level. Now, right now it's saying my stress is really high. Of course, it really isn't. Like I said, I'm kind of loud right now and I'm not the most still, so it's not gonna be the most accurate. But, I mean, when I am not, it usually is pretty good at telling that stuff. And you got your regular messages app, which looks relatively nice and it's pretty simple to use. And you have, and you also have your Google apps that come. You got your regular Google search, and you also have your Gmail Drive, Play Music, Hangouts, Photos. You also have Google Pay as well, and this works off all Android devices, not just Samsung. So you can use either Google Pay or Samsung Pay if you decide whichever one works for you. I do also have Google's Find Device as well, which also helps if you lose your device or if you lose another device. This thing also is capable with, it is also compatible with Google Stadia, which basically what that allows you to do is play console and PC games wirelessly via Google's cloud. And yeah, you can play all sorts of console games this way. And it's compatible with all Samsung phones from the S8 and newer. And it's also compatible with the Google Pixel. This is something that you can't do on the iPhones or iOS devices, and because Google runs this service, you probably never will. And it does also, if you want to though, you can also use Xbox's Project xCloud if you have a Bluetooth enabled Xbox controller though, and I believe that's also capable on iOS, so you could stream games that way. But overall, I find that Android devices always are better for gamers, and that not only does Google have their Stadia now, but I've always found their CPUs and GPUs to be a lot better for gaming in the long run. And not only that, but I also they also offer a lot more in terms of emulators, especially because you got a micro SD slot. Now, and just like all Android phones, you got your Play Store, Google Maps, you have your Samsung phone app, not gonna call anyone, but you got that, contacts, and these new animations you see when I close my apps, that's new since Android 10, but otherwise the interface of the phone really hasn't changed much since Android Pie. And those are my Microsoft apps that I downloaded, all of which work extremely well. And if I decide I want to create a new document, and let me see. And I am just spamming a bunch of letters, and it is not lagging or having any problems whatsoever. It isn't freezing. I'm not noticing any stuttering. It's really good as a productivity device on the go in terms of the power and speed. It's really hard to find lag in this device for sure. And you got your regular Samsung internet, which it comes with Chrome as well, which I find Chrome to be the better browser, but Samsung internet's more optimized for Galaxy devices, so it may use less battery. You have your regular email app, but this does come with Gmail like all Android phones do. You have the clock, which has a stopwatch. It has a world clock, and it also, you can set up your alarms as well. And it does also, and these other apps you see are all pretty much ones I've downloaded. It does have Google Duo, which I believe all Android phones do as well. And overall, it's a really capable phone, and I know I haven't demonstrated this yet. This is the Bixby button. And currently, for some reason, it's saying I just turned off my voice recorder. That's why it didn't work. But anyways, I just hold that and say, and now it's recording my voice. Hey, Bixby.
Good morning. Let's carpe this diem. Knock knock. Who's there? Albie. Albie who? I'll be waiting here until you open the door.
In in Bixby, it's kind of like Siri and Samsung's old S voice and Microsoft's Cortana. It's like of AI. But you can also download other AIs if you want to. Like, I have all the Microsoft apps on this phone downloaded. So because of that, I got Cortana on here. So I can use that if I want to, but, it comes with Bixby, and, you can, and because this is an Android, you can change your launcher. I have the Microsoft launcher on here as well, and see, I could use this as my home screen if I wanted to, which is pretty cool, but I'm not going to use that right now. I'm going to keep using my regular Samsung one, but you have that. It's pretty nice. And overall, it's a really good phone. I like it a lot. So next, we'll show the settings and stuff after we have Bixby tell us a funny story. And after that, we'll put the specs of this phone and the CPU and GPU to the test. So with that being said, enjoy.
Have you heard the one about Barry, the world's unluckiest bird watcher? That guy could never catch a beak, not to mention a break. Once Barry went off to find a flock of geese, but they'd all flown south for the winter. Then Barry went out, looking for sparrows, but he got confused and found arrows instead. Barry was so defeated. Sarcastic crows and alley cats cackled at his expense. But then, one day, Barry's luck changed. High up in a barren tree he spotted a big, beautiful bald eagle. Barry couldn't believe his eyes. "I did it," Barry exclaimed. "I found the rare bird I was looking for." Snap, snap, snap went Barry's camera shutter, and he photographed the eagle. Then Barry ran back to the birdwatchers' clubhouse to brag about his find. But when Barry went to show off the photos he took, no images appeared.
And it gives sound effects and everything. Now, I'm not going to play it, but if you want to, you can just pause if you want to read it all.
If you rearrange the letters in the meaning of life, it can spell the engine of a film.
And it will, you can have it tell
Were the two
jokes.
farmers arguing? Because there was...
Hey, what's up?
"I'm just hanging out in the cloud. It's a pretty neat place."
But yeah, you got that feature. And so now that we've shown that, I'll show you settings and different yet more features of this phone. And then after that, like I said, we'll put the GPU and CPU to the test, and we'll also show off some other features that I've mentioned that I have not shown yet. So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed so far and that you enjoy the rest of the video. So now we get back into the settings of this phone, and I also wanted to, before we do that, I also wanted to show a couple of apps I missed. This, of course, is the Samsung SmartWatch app, which allows you to easily switch between phones. You can send data to a new phone when the time comes when you want to upgrade it, and you can also receive data from an old phone, which I did right out of the box with this little thing by plugging the USB port from my other cable for my old phone into the one on this right here. But obviously, I don't need that right now, but it's really nice to have. And I also, I showed all of my Samsung apps for the most part. You, of course, have your Galaxy wearable watch app. I don't have a watch, so I have no need to use that. But it is nice to have as well. Basically, all of my other apps are pretty much ones I've downloaded. This is the unlocked phone. I'm using Cricket, so this, and Cricket doesn't sell this phone, so I obviously got it unlocked. And yeah, I mean, it's overall, even though this phone is quite old now, the quality of the screen, as you can see, is really, really good, and it still wows me to this day. And it was called cinema quality, and at the time this phone came out, they basically said it was the fastest phone there was, which obviously, while it's not true really anymore, it's been replaced twice with the S10 last year and the S20 this year. It still remains a pretty fast phone. Now, as you can see, here's your settings, and this, of course, allows you to connect to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and use it as a mobile hotspot, which I currently have turned off, but I can do that. I also forgot to mention you also have the Samsung Flow app, which basically is what makes use of the smart use feature, which allows you to basically mirror what's on your phone to your Windows computer or your Samsung tablet. I have no need for that right now, but I'll show that feature later. But now what we're gonna do, we're gonna look at the settings some more, and like I said, we'll put the CPU and GPU to the test and see how it is for gaming. And these are your notification settings, and this allows you to also, you can use it to turn on and off the do not disturb mode. This is your sounds and vibration, and you can control the intensity of it, and this allows you to change your ringtone, your notification sound, I mostly have it turned off, but this allows you to do that, and those are all your volume settings. And if I go back here, this is your display with your blue light filter, dark mode. You can change your font size and style. You can zoom in, make items on your screen larger or smaller. It is easy mode. I can change what I want to do on the edge panels right here. On the edge panel here are the apps that come up that are capable with multitasking and being used as pop-ups. We'll demonstrate that later. This allows you to, these are your navigation bar settings, touch protection, and this is the lock screen settings, and those are themes and wallpapers you can download for your phone. Pretty cool. Cancel. And this allows you to change it. Basically, I've used the stock one the whole time, even though I could change it if I want to, I just like the animation and look of it. And this is your security features, which allows you to set up the fingerprint, two-way verification, facial recognition, all of those features, and to recognize your irises. These are your all private stuff that I'm not going to show. That's like Google location settings and accounts. Here are your advanced features. That's the Bixby key settings, your link to Windows, smart pop-up view, direct share. I can reduce animations if I want to, but of course I like that. It's got one-handed mode, and I have game launcher and video enhancer on, and those are all the different apps I have, which I'll scroll through. Yeah, you can definitely tell it's a 60 hertz display, but for a 60 hertz display, it's definitely really, really smooth. And we go back. This is general management, which allows you to reset your phone. Accessibility, so these are all features that you can change and modify. So like if you have like a disability, or if you're blind or whatever, it's definitely useful for that. It's definitely pretty cool. And this is the screen you would go to for software updates. Currently, my phone is running the latest software. It hasn't been updated to OneUI 2.1 yet, but it's supposed to soon. It's currently on OneUI 2.0. There you go. That's what I'm running, Android 10. Originally, this device ran Android 8.0 Oreo. Then it got updated to Android 9 Pie, and now it's currently running Android 10. Now, this device Samsung generally gives about 2 or 3 years of over-the-air updates before they stop updating, so this may or may not get Android 11, but it's for sure not going to get Android 12, so that is definitely a drawback if you're looking at getting this phone this year. But that said, I mean, you know, rooting is still an option, although it's much harder to do because the bootloader isn't unlockable on this. It actually is on the S20 and certain variants, at least like the Sprint variant of the S10. But as you can see, if I go to developer options, I can't unlock the bootloader. There's no OEM unlock option. So there are still exploits that allow you to install GSIs if you're running Android Oreo or like, if you're running Android Oreo, you can still root the device and install an Android 9 or 10 GSI via exploits, but unfortunately, though, in the meantime, there isn't really a root method if you're running the device on Android 9 or 10, and it seems to be pretty complicated to install the GSI, so it's not like nearly as easy as just simply unlocking the blue bootloader and flashing the ROM, so this is definitely a concern once Samsung decides to stop supporting and updating the phone. But anyways, now that we've talked about the features and the software and all of that, now what we're going to do is we are going to test the CPU and the GPU and see how it does while doing some gaming. So here we go. So right here I have Call of Duty Mobile open, and if I go to my audio and graphics settings, as you can see, I have it set to very high, as you can see right here. And if I'll turn the ragdoll settings on, and as you can see, that I basically have the settings on the game maxed out. And so now what we're going to do, we're going to jump into a battle royale game, and we'll see how it performs doing this. This game came out a year and a half after the phone did. This game came out at the end of September of 2019. So let's see how it does. So I'm flying a helicopter here. And overall, it's running pretty smoothly. It's in the phase right now where it's waiting for the team to go, but to get together, so it's not the smoothest yet, but the overall, the graphics look very detailed and pretty realistic. And they're pretty smooth. Overall, it looks absolutely very nice looking. I'm gonna jump off. And I'll pause till we get into the match. So now we're back on the ground, and as you can see, it's very, very smooth. Of course, it's not as smooth as if you had like a 120 hertz display, but again, it's very, very smooth at max settings, and which is definitely nice considering this is a 2-year-old phone. And yeah, like I said, really, really smooth, and no lags or freezing or anything like that. And right now it's in third-person mode. I'll show you what it looks like if I put it in first-person mode. Now we're doing a frontline regular multiplayer battle. And as you can hear, the audio quality is really good with Dolby Atmos enabled. But yeah, very, very smooth performance. The graphics are incredible. And of course I'm already dead because I'm not particularly focused on the game exactly. But yeah, the performance is really, really good. And I just killed someone. But overall, the performance is really smooth. And then I'll show you one more game, and then we'll get to the multitasking as well as the DeX mode, and then we'll conclude the video. So hope you've enjoyed it so far still. So now we're gonna play our other game, which is Asphalt 9 Legends. Which, if we, let's resume. As you can see, the gameplay is really smooth. And overall, the graphics are really smooth and amazing. Yeah, this is definitely on Ultra because of the effect there, when I did the Nitro. But yeah, absolutely amazing performance. And again, the graphics are just phenomenal. And as you can see, if I go to the game settings, it says I'm on high quality right now. Oh, I actually did modify it. Well, let's do one more race and let's see how it does. Then we'll jump into the San Francisco level. And let's see how it performs. Loaded nice and quickly. Every once in a while there will be like a really small stutter in case you haven't noticed, but overall it runs really smoothly. Overall, it just looks absolutely amazing, and the sound is incredible, too. But there you have it. I mean, it is great for gaming. Even though this phone's 2 years old, it still does it really well. Alright, so now that we're done putting the CPU and GPU to the test, now I will show off some other features I mentioned earlier in the video. So right here, on the edge of the screen, you have apps that you can multitask and pop up, and if I touch YouTube, for example, that's in full screen mode. But if I decide I wanted to just drag it to the middle of the screen, I can pop it up just like you can on like a PC or something, and it's pretty cool. And I can also do that with Google Maps, and I can do that with multiple apps. And despite the fact that there's a video playing in the background on YouTube and stuff, I am having zero lag whatsoever on Google Maps, as you can see right here. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And if I can close it, I can also make the screen bigger, and I'll close those apps out. And if I wanted to, I can also have two apps open at once. And with Samsung Internet and DeX, see, both of these apps I can multitask with. So I can surf the web in DeX, but I can also take notes over here, which is pretty cool. It's definitely nice to have, because even though this is a pretty small screen, it is, again, it's very nice to have because, you know, I mean, because as I've said before, I do take this phone to school sometimes, and I don't lug around my laptop everywhere. Sometimes I need to be able to take notes on the go. So having this feature is an incredibly nice one to have, and it definitely makes things a whole lot easier for me and for everyone. So now that we've shown the multitasking features, the gaming features, and a bunch of the camera features and apps and many other features the Galaxy S9 offers, I am going to show you some of the features that allow you to interact between this device and your PC. So what you can do, if you have Bluetooth enabled on both of your devices, what you can do is you can go to the Your Phone app on your PC, if you have it, and what it does is if you have both your S9 and your PC hooked up together, it will show your calls as well as your messages on your PC, which is pretty cool. And another cool thing about the Your Phone app is not only are you able to show your calls and your messages, but you can also share and mirror your phone screen. And all you have to do is make sure your Bluetooth is on and on your PC, and enable the link to Windows feature right here. And then it should show the name of your computer, and all you have to do, right now I currently have it on the calls screen, but as you're gonna see, let me see if I can get it to work. I do have Bluetooth turned on. There we go. So now I have Bluetooth on, and I can call someone here, and I can also share my phone screen over here and watch this. And it will ask for your consent. And right here, it will show your phone screen, and this is the screen of my S9, and I can swipe and see it's going to change on my computer, and I can also control it from my computer as well. See? Look at that, isn't that cool? It's pretty nice for sure, especially if you like to do things on a larger screen. And there are many other ways you can do this as well, as I'm going to show right now. And this goes for any phone, not just Samsung, and you can show your phone screen this way, but if you have a Samsung device, which I have here, which is my S9 Plus, I can just open up the Samsung Flow app, and what I can do is I can just open the app on my phone, once I get it open, and as you can see here, if we go here, see Samsung Flow, tap it, and it's on. And as you can see, now I have my phone screen on my PC, which is pretty cool. See? Look at that. It's pretty cool stuff. And the other cool thing this thing can do with your PC is, if you'd like, you can also plug it in with a USB port and watch what it's going to do. You all have to make sure you have the Samsung DeX app right here downloaded onto your computer. But once you got that installed, you can just easily plug the device, your S9 in. And this is also compatible with the S8, the S10, and the S20, and watch what happens. So now that I've hooked it up to my computer, it's just waiting for me to start it. So I can just start casting with Samsung DeX. And once I give it permission to access my files, now I can just use my phone like it's a little computer, which is pretty cool. It almost looks like a desktop, and as you can see, I can access all of my apps on my phone and basically everything that is on my phone on my Windows PC, which is pretty cool. And I got my home button. I can close my apps and basically do everything I can on my phone, but on my Windows PC, and it will look like a PC here, see? And it pops up and you can change the window sizes and everything. It's pretty cool. See? Look. Pretty cool stuff. And yeah, it's basically what it looks like. And if I want to exit out, I can just I can just simply unplug my phone, or I can click the close, exit Samsung DeX, and close it here, or just minimize it for now, and voila, now I'm back to my Windows home screen. And yeah, and one more cool thing I can also do, this was an exclusive feature that Samsung had an app for back in 2014. They don't have this anymore, unfortunately. But another cool thing you can do is, if you have the Microsoft app on your phone, what you can also do, you can go to use the remote desktop client, and what it will allow you to do is, I can now stream what's on my Windows PC to my phone. And as you can see now, it looks exactly like I am, and as you can see now, it looks almost exactly like I am running full Windows on my phone, which is pretty cool. If I go to home, and now I just got out, and now I'm back in the remote session. If I go down, see, there's my full Windows screen right on my phone, and I can just dismiss the lock screen on my PC, and then it will end. So there you have it. So now that we've shown the different features of this phone, its gaming capabilities, its multitasking capabilities, and all of that fun stuff, would I say this phone is worth it in in 2020? Well, if you're looking for a phone with a good camera, even though it doesn't have 8K video, and even though you can only record at 4K 60 for 5 minutes, if you're okay, it's not that big of a deal, as you can just stitch videos together, and as long as you're okay with, if you do record in 4K 60, having the video save in your internal storage, then this really isn't a bad phone at all. I mean, even though it's 2 years old now, it's still a superb performance and absolute monster specs by 2020 standards, and it's still extremely fast and very smooth. It has a headphone jack. It has Gear VR support, which the newer S series and Note phones do not. It has it does not have wireless power share, but it does have wireless charging, and it can be charged by devices that do have wireless power share. And so even though it's missing out on a few new features that phones that succeeded at have, it's still a really good phone. The display is very beautiful, very bright, and very, very smooth. The sound's really good, it charges pretty quickly. The gaming performance is good. It multitasks pretty well. And it has a lot of really cool gimmicky features with the camera, the apps it offers, being able to control your own appliances, being able to mirror the screen on your PC, mirror the PC screen on your phone, and being able to also, you know, connect with your PC so you can call from your PC and everything. And plus, like I said, with Samsung Flow, you can mirror your phone's screen, and with Samsung DeX, you can basically turn this little guy into a PC in a way. If you hook it up to a monitor, or if you hook it up to either your Windows or Mac PC. So yeah, it's pretty capable in terms of what it can do, and even though this is a bit of an old phone, it still has lots of power, it has lots of functionality, it has a heart rate monitor built in, it is, like I said, a really good camera, a fingerprint sensor, and overall it just offers a pretty good amount despite its age. And overall, I would say it's worth getting in 2020, especially since you can get these for less than $300. At the time I got it, it was like $900 for the S9 Plus, which I have here, and the S9 regular was like $800. So it wasn't cheap at the time, but now you can easily get it for less than $300. And as you see, it does run the latest Android version, which is Android 10. However, it's probably going to remain stuck on Android 10, or it may get Android 11. But after that, it probably won't get supported any longer. And unfortunately, because of the overall design Samsung put on it, and because they decided to keep the bootloader locked on this thing, once they stop supporting it, it is really hard to root. So far, the only known root methods for the US versions of this phone are if you have Android Oreo, and since I have Android 10, and if you have it with Android 10 or 9 running it, there are no new known root methods for this phone at this time. So that is definitely a concern in the long run, but you should be able to get the latest apps for many years to come. You can get most of the latest Play Store apps if you have Android 5.1 Lollipop, which is from 14. So, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, but for those who are concerned about that, that is something to keep in mind, especially since the iPhones nowadays are getting 4 or 5 years of major software updates. But with that said, this thing definitely is far more capable than a lot of iPhones. It still has some features that the iPhones of today don't have, and like I said, it is extremely powerful. The graphics are just incredible, especially for being a phone. So with that being said, would I say it's worth it in 2020? Aside from the potential software update concerns, yes, I would say for sure it is absolutely worth it if you're on a tighter budget and can't afford an S20 or a Note 10, or if you don't even want to pay for the S10. This is still a really good phone to have. I would still recommend it to this date. And with that all being said, I sure hope you enjoyed this review / overview of my Galaxy S9 Plus. It was sure a lot of fun to make. And with that all being said, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.